Just to sort of, I guess, what I found interesting, or just what I wanted to kind of get out of him was, how does this kind of stuff come about? Like, the sleep project, and also the GPS thing last year with the GPS things in the shoes. Basically, how does this whole process come about? How do you guys even put ideas into action? Where do you guys find stuff, and how does it kind of continue into something that becomes, sort of a standard thing to work with?
So when Coach first got here, his challenge to me was to always be on the cutting edge. So I took that challenge as to see what can we do to get better. Not necessarily, my whole goal is not to see what other schools are doing and copy them. I don't want to be another school. I want to be Tennessee, who's at the top.
Right.
And so the whole sleep thing started. I just started reading a lot. It's like such a backstory to a backstory. So
sure, yeah.
We have a lot of offensive linemen with a lot of abdominal fat. And so my goal was to figure out how to decrease their belly fat in the off season so that they're still, they still can carry the weight, but it's more functional and they're leaner. So I started looking at different supplement products that had less sugar and that sort of thing. Then I just started reading about sleep apnea and metabolic syndrome. And so then I got more interested in reading about the sleep. And then that turned into what can we do to improve sleep in addition to these other things. So it started out, just kind of basic, how can I make linemen a little leaner and less at risk for negative health outcomes really in their future, because that is important to me. And then I ended up going to strength and conditioning conference last year, and the Rise Science guys were there, and they're the company that we work with our sleep monitoring system. And so sat down with them for 15 minutes just to hear about what they had to offer. And I thought, this is a great product, it's a great service, and it's something that we can implement right now, and we can use that information right now. And so that's how that kind of came about. Coach has always talked to the players about get sleep, get rest, recover, do all these things right. And so I knew it was something he'd be excited about, because he's always talking about sleep.
Yeah.
And so presented that to him and administration and that sort of thing. And from there, we went forward with it and had some really, really fun and interesting, more outcomes than I thought we would have, actually. Okay. So
go on with that, because we heard about this at the beginning, when he sort of just threw that out there, and we were like, wait, sleep coaches? Explain this to me. How did this go?
Basically, it's not just a device, it's changing a culture of what does rest look like.
Right.
And so I know from the research that I've read and from decades of sleep research, as far as how it's connected to your endocrine system, how it's connected to performance and reaction time and all those sorts of things, I knew in my head that we would see guys who are able to maintain weight, gain weight more efficiently, who would have better just performance in general, feel better, be able to recover better, and that sort of thing. So I knew some of those things were going to start happening. But you still wonder, like, will it really happen?
Yeah.
Like, I know that the research says, but is that really going to happen with our guys? And so we had a few guys that maintained 10 pounds heavier this season than they did last season. And, one of the things I think when you look at any of this sports science stuff or any research really, you have to stop saying, well, it could be this, this, and this.
Right.
Because, yes, it could be that they're a year older, they're more matured, they're developed more. But bottom line is we were looking at sleep. And because these three individuals had been coached on sleep, their sleep had increased. On average, we had guys getting about 37 minutes more sleep each night than they had during the summer when we first started the program, which is a big deal. Like during the season, you're actually sleeping almost 40 minutes more than what you were in the summer when your commitments weren't as much. Like that's a big deal. And then we found as well that it was taking them less time to fall asleep. So their latency had gone down. It started at about 40 minutes, and I think it went down to about 31 minutes, which is a big deal. That's an extra 9 minutes of sleep that you're getting. And then we had one who was just having some issues of movement a lot at night, waking up often at night, had him do a sleep study, like actual sleep research at UT Med Center. Because the sleep system coaching is not a diagnostic tool. It's just to help detect certain things or, help the athlete sleep better. He was diagnosed with sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea. So again, not just looking at, performance, long-term health outcomes. That's a big deal to make sure that our players are going to be safer and healthier in the long run. We also had, I'm trying to, like, off the top of my head, I'm starting to draw a blank, but guys, just as far as like perception of sleep, and again, it's hard to measure culture and mindset because there's no tangible way to hold on to it. But I mean, guys that would take naps during the day compared to before, the culture of pulling all-nighters is, I mean, it's still there a little bit, but there's always in the back of the mind, I know it's not really going to help me if I'm only sleeping 2 hours a night.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So changing those little things, I think, has created like in the grand scheme of things, like the whole culture of how important rest is.
Right.
And coach just constantly, bringing home that message. And I mean, kudos to coach as well for him listening when I would have suggestions or recommendations. The players, some of the older guys said that during training camp, it was the most rest they felt like they'd ever gotten. We did change the schedule a lot to give them, even if it was 20 minutes more sleep or cut meetings at night by 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you see those results and you can use that information immediately to make changes. And so we changed some of the traveling scheduling so that they were waking up later on night games so they could sleep in. So just the little things that we've been able to change and modify so that the guys who are doing the sleep coaching know that their results are making a difference for what the whole team gets to enjoy, really.